Welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. In this podcast, I interview successful business leaders and industry experts to help you grow your business. In this episode, I had a discussion with Irina Mihaela. She is a professional and passionate business consultant and coach with over 2 decades of experience from engineering manager in a high-tech corporate where she grew a department's business by 600% in 2 years. She also published a book, Entrepreneur Enlightenment, a guide to establish your purpose-driven business. She's also hosted a weekly radio show on voiceamerica.com and grew the audience over 6K. She hosted an Entrepreneur Enlightenment TV on RogersTV and continue on a YouTube channel. She's also a President's Award of Excellence winner in 2003. She opened and managed a brick and mortar herbal medicine clinic and dispensary, and she also founded Entrepreneur Enlightenment Academy. Now, this was a very interesting discussion. We talk about various aspects of business and leadership. Irina shared her journey from a corporate world to Entrepreneur Enlightenment Academy. She also outlined and shared what hold most new entrepreneurs and also established businesses back. And she also talks about what helped her through her journey and also how she is helping other business leaders to deal with the similar obstacles as well. If you are thinking to start a new business or if you are running a business and not growing as you should be, I would recommend that you reach out to Irina for a quick discussion. I'm sure her passion to help others and her experience to identify blind spots and also a very practical solution to business challenges will provide perspective that you need in order to scale and grow your company. If you haven't subscribed to this channel, make sure you subscribe to this channel and don't forget to send us your feedback and share this messages with your colleagues. Until next time, please welcome Irina Mihaela. Hi guys, welcome to Business Leadership Podcast. Today, my guest is Irina Mihaela. Irina, your area of expertise helping business leaders to achieve whatever they can't achieve by themselves or they need a little bit of help. That's so needed today, and everybody needs a little bit of help to get over whatever they're dealing with. So thank you so much for your time. Welcome to the podcast.
Oh, I love being here and I love talking with leaders, and you have an expertise in that area because indeed, like when we want to achieve a big vision, we need a team behind us. We need the support, and leaders have their team, but they need their own team, like, the Olympic athletes that they have their coach in their corner. So I love to see if we can provide some value and give some tips and tricks and strategies for leaders to achieve what they want to achieve.
So let's start from there. So what do you see some of the challenges you see the business leaders are up against? Definitely we're going through very tough economic times. There's so many challenges. Business leaders have so many different obstacles to get over to scale their companies, build their businesses. What do you see some of the challenges?
So the biggest challenge, and I was feeling into that as I was talking, is that the leader is alone. Like the business owner, they build a successful company. Everybody thinks, oh, they're good, they are successful, they don't need anything, that everything is fine with them. And there is the stress of time and the stress of financial, like, being busy, and then the financial stress because you have to take care of all the employees. And the business leaders that I work with, they're usually caring, loving people. So they feel that their employees, they're a family and they have to take care of them. So then it leaves the leader that is very capable, very able to do a lot of things and support a lot of people. It leaves them alone because even when they ask for support or when they want to express that they could use some help, everybody sees them as successful, like they don't need the help. But each and every one of us needs help. And the bigger the vision, the more help is needed.
Got it. I think that's where the saying people always say that, that it's lonely on the top because you don't have the support system around you. You got there because what you knew and you got that level, but then you have nowhere to go from there on, right?
Yes.
So where do you see how do these people, from a business leader, I have a 100 employees and I'm at the level where I got there because what I knew, but now a little bit challenging on the top. So how do these people go find help and what kind of help these people look for from you?
So the first thing is to understand, like for the business leader to understand that you need to take care of yourself. I think Dalai Lama said, if kindness doesn't include yourself, is not real kindness. Right. And the same is like if care, like doesn't include you taking care of yourself, is not really kindness. Like you want to achieve and you want to support your people and your business and your growth, but you need to invest in yourself. And invest is not even like monetary invest, just to give yourself the time to be. And it's very hard for high achievers. I'm a high achiever too. It's like, we need the action list. What do you mean be?
Mm-hmm.
But when we are just being, first our body relaxes, and our body knows how to heal itself. So our body, our blood pressure, whatever the leaders experience, high stress, and it relaxes. And the second thing that happens, all the good ideas kind of come into the awareness of the leader. So sometimes being, it's a good way to create more business. So not only doing, but being, and finding that space where you can relax yourself.
Very interesting. So I know a lot of business leaders, Irina, most of them, the high achiever, as you mentioned, they all work on a personal and professional development because, technology changes all the time. In my world, business changes all the time. That's the nature of business. It's got to change. And new economic challenges comes all the time because what we just gone through for the last few years. So now what you're saying is not only work on a personal and professional development, also work on your own, on yourself, and find your time, whatever your me time is, and work on yourself as well, because that's going to help you achieve further.
Exactly, because again, as a high achiever myself, and I work with high achiever business leaders that build great companies. Learning something that is practical and like a marketing or a something, again, it's a to do, but to give yourself the space to be, to relax in nature. Like I do executive retreats at my place, and being in nature and just being, like just looking at a tree, it defines the brain of a high achiever, because what are we doing? We're looking at a tree, but in fact, we are allowing this energy exchange between the tree and us, and we're allowing ourselves to be at peace and have that inner peace. And what's interesting is the more we are at peace, the better decision making is. So then instead of making, we make a million decisions, right? When you have a business such as yourself and the people that I know and I work with, there's like millions of decisions, right? And then the faster you can make a decision, the better it is. And the better the decision you're making, the more profit you make in the business. Mm-hmm. And when you allow yourself the space to be and not think about decisions and nothing but becoming at peace, then you're more in tune with the right decision. And those right decisions then help you fulfill your destiny and fulfill the mission of your company.
Very interesting. I know I can speak for myself, Irina. I need to create a lot of content for my business as well. So I need that time to create a content, because content does not come from me working in a business. Content comes from ideas, comes from when I'm in that time. So how do you, I definitely find my time in the morning, early in the morning, because nobody's, there's no activity going on. I can spend that time on myself and figure, what I want to do. What do you see a lot of other people do? How do they find the time? Because it's busy. Businesses are busy. You need an action item, as you mentioned. How do they find the time to invest in themselves?
Very good question. And everyone is an individual and it's particular. The mornings are usually, for maybe 60% of the people I work with, they are the best because it's before the day gets busy. Mm-hmm. But I have clients that they have like children they need to take, like morning is not, they cannot spend a lot of time in the morning. Then the next best thing is lunchtime. So usually, I don't know about you if you worked in corporate. I worked in corporate before working in my business. So at lunchtime, I used to close my office door and be off the emails. And then in our business, we don't do that, right? Because you're like, I need to answer to someone. And if we can make that discipline to say, okay, if you could do it in the morning, that's the best time. If you can't, then do it at lunchtime. And that also brings a break in the day. you can put the lunch time as your sacred time. You make your lunch or whatever you eat, but also you can take time to journal and to say, okay, what I did, what can I do? Relax, breathe. Or if you are in nature, enjoy nature, like being out in nature, even if you can step out of the office for a bit. That's a very good practice.
Mhm.
And I do meditation and I guide meditations for people, and it's not a complicated, like I come from a background of engineering, so I'm not like the guru on the mountain that all they do all day long is a meditation. But when you learn to meditate, like even to come within yourself, like when you know it, you can do it in a moment, like
Mhm.
like that, and you come into yourself and you allow yourself to be. Again, I'm saying the word allowing yourself to be. Then you're resetting your nervous system,
Mhm.
because when we go, our nervous system is on the edge, right? And we need that edge and we need that spark in order to make things happen, but we cannot stay in that state all day long. So if we take the lunchtime, and some people like to do it at night if that's what their schedule, and some people are night owls, so after everybody goes to bed, then they will do it then. The problem with that is if you fall asleep, but if you do it in a place where you don't fall asleep and you can kind of review your day, plan the next day, but then have that space where you are just being with yourself, with your feelings, with your emotions, because the high achievers usually don't like to think too much about emotions, but we're human beings and everyone has emotions, no matter how accomplished you are.
Yeah, so what you're saying is you don't need to allocate so much time. You can integrate in your daily schedule. It's a small bit of time that you can integrate whatever you're doing. You can integrate into the schedule on a daily basis.
Exactly. That's exactly it. If you integrate it within your schedule and you take even 5 minutes in a day, you're way ahead of the people who don't do that. I
Yeah.
call it an edge because, for the successful business owner, we always want to have an edge. Like, what's
Yeah.
next? How can I, they talk biohack. How can I hack my way to success? This is exactly how you said it.
So one of the challenge I find in this arena, and I'm going to mention that, hopefully somebody who's listening to us, watching us, I'm sure they will probably dealing with the similar challenges. So when you're doing that, when you have your own time, how do you control your thought process? There's so many thoughts come in your mind when you're sitting, just trying to focus on those things. How do you gain focus and how do you control thought process?
So first thing what you can do is, that's why I say journal. So I always have like a notebook that I journal. Like I'm a journaler. I journal since I was in grade 5
Yeah.
because I'm also a writer, right? But the first thing for the thoughts is to journal. So you can journal for 5 minutes, and it's whatever thoughts, and you don't judge the thoughts, and you're not problem solving. You just journal on the thoughts. And then at one point, the thoughts are on the paper, because the problem when we don't put them on the paper, they're just round and round and round in our head.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I forgot to email that person. I forgot that thing, Oh, I was supposed to get back to the CFO, and oh, I forgot that. And it's all those thoughts, right? But when you put them down on the paper, they are out of your head into the paper. And now they are safe there, and you can leave them there. And when you start to be and to meditate, and the thoughts come, because part of the enlightenment, my company is called Entrepreneur Enlightenment. So part of the
Mm-hmm.
enlightenment is to be able to observe ourselves. So you can just observe, oh, I have a lot of thoughts,
Mm-hmm.
without making it wrong or it has to be in a different way.
Oh, that is such a great point because you can, before you spend time on yourself, you can empty your headspace and just write all that, and you can revisit those the journals as well later on if you forget about something. But I think it gives you space a little bit. At least you're not thinking about it because you already put that on a paper, and now you just focus on yourself, whatever the time you want to spend.
Yeah.
Very interesting. How do people control? How about what we live in a modern world today? It's modern business. We run all digital everywhere. There's so much. you know, um, traffic, whether it's a social media, it's emails, there's apps on our phones, they're always ringing. And it's very tempting to respond to these things all day long. We do that. How do you get a control on these items that you just puts all that stuff on a side?
So I advise this to all my clients: turn off notifications, because I work with people who have a big vision and who have a big purpose and they want to achieve something, right? So then if you think of all the people in the world, like the leaders that achieved something, like Einstein, like Mother Teresa, like people who've done something good for the world, they were very focused on one thing.
Mm-hmm.
So they're focused on their vision.
Got it.
And we want to achieve something, we need to decide what is our vision and what are we focusing on.
Mm-hmm.
And then we have to eliminate the things that are not fulfilling to our purpose and to our business and to our strategic plan and whatever we want to achieve. So a disciplined person knows, okay, now it's time for social media. I open up all my things and I do it for 15 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's time for work, for strategy planning, right? For decision making on hiring, firing, reorganizing, all the things we need to do in the business.
Mm-hmm.
So now I turn off everything and now it's my decision time for this particular topic.
Got it.
And not allow distraction. Like I don't do media, like I don't know politics, this. I choose how to use my life, and I advise this to my clients. If it's not part of your purpose, don't get involved with it, because I feel that for every problem, because I also work with social enterprises and they have they want to lobby for this or lobby for that or do this. And if it's your purpose, yes, do it.
Mm-hmm.
If it's not your purpose, focus on your purpose and support the causes that are dear to your heart in other ways. Maybe, if you have a successful business, you can donate or do something or support or give them space or something. But just listening to news or to beeping, that's also why we need that time to center, because so much beeping, our nervous system, we're still humans. Like no matter these technologies, which are good if they help us, but we're still functioning as a human, as a body with nervous system, with if you blink lights or, nervous system is going to go wonky. And then you're not happy, you're not well, you're not fully you.
Mm-hmm. Very interesting. Yeah. So I think the focus is, as you mentioned, that is a key for business achievers. So you gotta have a laser focus. That's what it takes to achieve something. What are you trying to achieve, right? It doesn't. You can have a half, 50% focus and still trying to achieve something. You gotta have 100% laser focus. What are you trying to achieve? That's what it takes these days to build the companies and build the businesses.
Yes.
Very interesting. So let's talk about your journey, Irina. Before we get to spirituality side of business connected, I want to talk about your journey. How did you get what your corporate journey has been, and how do you end up in enlightenment side? If you can talk about your journey.
Yeah, so my background is in engineering. So I graduated engineering back home in Romania. And at that time, and I grew up in a communist country. So when I graduated, there were no jobs that says women. All the jobs said men. So
Wow.
I'm an electrical engineer. So they were saying electrical engineer in the bracket man.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of my colleagues, we were just 10 girls and 100 boys when we graduated, right? So the percentage was small for women. And some of my colleagues, ladies, went and got secretarial jobs. But I worked way too hard for 5 years, because I graduated with master. So that's how it went, our program. I worked too hard for 5 years to go and get a secretarial job. So I was seeking, I was not want to settle. And I found this a place where they were hiring engineering because they were just starting a nuclear power plant.
Okay.
And there were 600 applicants for 60 jobs.
Okay.
So I got a job in English because it was the nuclear power plant was built by Canadians with Italians with Romanians. Like that was like a consortium.
Okay.
So I got in top 10%. Actually, I learned that I was in top 1%. And I got into this fresh out of university as a junior engineer in a nuclear power plant that was starting.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
And I did that. And then I heard the stories about trees and forests and moose. And I wanted to come to Canada.
Okay.
So after 5 years, I decided to come to Canada, and I was looking to see if there is a job or something. And I found like a promise of a job. And I decided by myself with $2,000 in my pocket and 2 suitcases to come to Canada.
Wow. That's brave.
Yes. And lucky I got a job in the nuclear engineering, and then I built a successful career there I started again as junior engineer. I passed my engineering, like professional engineering in Canada. And I built a successful career there from like junior engineer all the way to acting director.
Nice.
And then I went to a conference, a Hay House conference in Toronto.
Mm-hmm.
And I was a volunteer. And I was assigned to a room where someone, a spiritual teacher, was doing a past life regression. So I had like, a spiritual awakening that I didn't expect. So that's kind of the journey. But in my corporate career, I was project managing. I was business development. So that's why I'm like the yin and the yang. So that's where my expertise in business comes from. When I took my department, I raised it 600% in 2 years. So when I took my department and I had to develop business development, I was also selected to be with the directors in improvement, constant improvement. So I had and I done all the leadership training that there was. And I saw that you did Schulich School of Business.
Yeah.
And because I saw we have that's our one in common. So I did that leads through relationships program. Yeah.
So where does the business and spirituality connects? I'm thinking, how do these two spaces get together? Trying to understand how's your journey been, and where is the connection, and what's the impact looks like?
Yes. So it's very interesting because the business and the spirituality connect very well. Successful people, like I'm thinking Richard Branson, they make decisions, right? And they have intuition and they make it on gut feeling. So that's where, when we go through school, we talk about IQ, right? Intelligence. Then when we start to learn about leadership, we talk about emotional intelligence, how to lead people, how to understand their emotions. This is the next level up, to have spiritual intelligence, to know decisions that are in the highest good of the company, right? The highest good of the people working and the highest good of the person who leads it.
Right.
And so that's you take the intelligence, like IQ, which we make logical decisions. We take the emotional intelligence and we bring this spiritual intelligence where we understand life at a higher level, and we bring that into the business. If you look to who is really successful, I'm talking Richard Branson, but they use a lot of spiritual intelligence, what feels good, what deals to go into, and how to restructure a company. Yes, there is a logical component, and that's why I merged the two. So I merged the logical with the intuition. And then when the both align, that's when we have the best path forward.
So do you think these people were spiritual? That's the reason they got where they needed to be, or they got where they needed to be and learned spirituality afterwards to scale the company and to be better people?
We are all spiritual. We may not recognize it or not. Like we all have like gut feeling, like even before, because like for me, it's also like before and after. So when I was in my engineering career, I didn't have any of this that I discovered after.
Mm-hmm.
But I have that knack, right? Like what project will work? Will this, like I had that, because I would be the one that proposed the work to the client, and then I would be the manager who has to deliver it, right? So I would have the knack at the proposal negotiation. Is this going to work? How many employees I need? What are my resources? Do we have enough profit margin? And there was a knack that I had. And the successful people also have this knack. If we go further and learn it, like I went and did, it's instead of just being something you do, but you don't know why you're doing or how you're making the decision, you become more aware, and then you make even better decisions without doubting yourself, or without doubting, should I go left or right?
And I think most business leaders have that, either they're aware of it or not. Because when we hire people, we hire based on that. Are we not hiring based on any results? We simply hire on, hey, do we like this person's, aura, or do we like the demeanor? Do we like, some sort of? So we have something that we base decision on. And I know most high achiever, they make a decision very, very quickly. We can see a person and we can tell that in 2 minutes, okay, are we going to hire or not, right? So,
Exactly.
So everybody have that, but if they can get better at it, definitely,
Yes.
they can make a lot more right decisions.
Yes, so you're correct. Like when I help my clients hire, especially in high positions, like high position, we do the logical, like we do personality tests, you do the resume and all that, the part that the due diligence. And then let's say we end up with 3 people. And I'm talking especially for leadership positions, because, if you make a mistake on a worker level, you can change it. But if you make a mistake on the leadership positions, it costs you way more money.
Yeah.
And when you end up with this 3 on the short list, let's say resume is the same, like everything is the same, personality test the same, you go. So I know it's weird, but I ask, like, put your hand on your heart and think about Joanne, let's say, and see how you feel. Does it feel happy or like high or low? And then we do that with the 3 people. And if there is a doubt, I advise them to have another phone call and to manage their energy, to see, after I talk to this person, do I feel drained? Do I feel the same, or do I feel uplifted? And when you hire for your leadership team, you want your leadership team to uplift you. You don't want, I've been in a meeting and then I have to, hyperventilate. Like, you want to be uplifted, because when the leader is uplifted, when the visionary is uplifted, more good things are happening. If imagine, like, we have like this much energy, and if we give, then we are left with nothing. But if we meet with someone that we count on, like a right hand or somebody, and we feel they replenish our energy, then we have more energy to make the vision go and grow the company and fulfill the mission.
Well, if they can do that to you, they can do the same thing to the company and the customers. They can draw the energy down, right? But you're absolutely right about that. Every time I didn't listen to myself, that's when I made a biggest mistake in hiring, because I hire a lot of people on an ongoing basis, right? If I don't listen to myself and I go with the facts and numbers and all this stuff, that's when I made a mistake. And I've been very good at at the reading people, understanding, but moment I go away from it, that's when I make biggest mistakes.
Yes, and that's why when we start to lean towards the enlightenment, and we understand that we have intuition and gut feeling, or whatever you want to call it, then when something doesn't feel right, because you can have a deal that looks really, really good on the paper, like partnerships or like mergers, or like something that really looks really good, like will make money and stuff. But if you have that feeling like,
That wasn't right.
that's not right, because something can look very good, but it can create a lot of headaches, and then it can create in the future. So that's why when I work with leaders and I help them understand this, then they're not like signing because it looks good. Then they also give themselves a moment to see, does it feel good?
Yeah.
And then if it doesn't feel good, that has to kind of have to make the deal not go, because the biggest mistakes we make is when then the logic comes in and tries to convince our feeling. We had the feeling that maybe it's not, but then the logic says, oh, but this and but that and that.
Yeah, how many times we sign a deal with even customers and we come out and say, listen, that the deal does not feel right. Something's not right in a deal. And we know for sure that deal's not going to work out for long term. It's only short-term deal, right? Happens to me so many times. We sign a contract, we sign a deal, we come out of it, something in the deal was not right. It just does not bring that energy, right? And we know that it's not going to last very long.
Yes. So the way I work with my clients is that when it doesn't feel right, then you say it doesn't feel right. So you acknowledge, and that's a data, right? Because you're a businessman, you make decisions based on data. So it doesn't feel right is a piece of data.
Mm-hmm.
Then the next question is the entire deal not feel right, or is there a clause that needs to be added?
Got it. So part of that. Okay, got it. Okay.
It's part of that. So then you ask yourself, is the entire deal doesn't feel right? And you see, I said, no, this is kind of good deal. So then you ask yourself, what is missing? What clause in there is the one that I feel I shouldn't be in there? Or what clause do I need to add? Like I always advise to put the assumptions, like I assume that the client will give me the data that I need. I assume like all the things. So if something is not right, maybe there is something missing, and then you need to add that in, and then you check, oh, now feels good. Now let's do the deal. Now let's sign it.
Mm-hmm. So just a little adjustment sometimes you need. It's not that you need to walk away from it. Just minor adjustment will get you over that other hump.
Yes, and being trained in this, then you give yourself permission to go through the steps.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Very interesting. So a lot of wisdom, lot to learn from you. Can business leaders, they also have to train their people. I know a lot of business leaders, they always train their people, train their team, because they need to perform on a certain level as well. Can you teach some of this wisdom, some also to the team as well, or just it's for high achievers, they need to just go and grind on it?
Well, like everybody wakes up in the morning wanting to be successful. So even like everybody, and also these days, the employees, like the world has changed so much since people work from home and this and that. Everybody wants to fulfill their purpose, employees at any level. Mm-hmm. So when I work with the team, first, like I work with the leader before I work with the team, but we also try to understand the team members and their profiles and what is their purpose and what makes them tick, right? So then when we do the team building exercises or the team building retreats or whatever, workshops, whatever we're doing, we're coming from the point that the leader wants the team member to succeed, but not necessarily for the business sake, like we want to make more money, but I want you to be happy. I want, who doesn't want their employee to have a job that they adore, that they love coming to, and that it enhances themselves, like it grows them as people. So when we bring that understanding to the team, that you have a purpose, that there are things that you do better and other things that maybe you prefer not to do, how can we work with you? How can you enhance yourself? How can you lift your energy? How can be like a happier company? How can we have peace in the team? Because like having infights, that's like one of the biggest killer of profits, right? Like because it wasted so much time to have like power struggles in the team, and like I don't like that person, or they didn't give me what I needed. So when we bring it to the team, of course, we use a little bit different language, but everybody wants to succeed. Everybody wants to win at their level. At their, everybody has a life purpose. And some like business owners, they have like this risk capacity, but some employees, they don't have the risk capacity. They just need a paycheck. They need to go home. They need to raise their family. So then that's what they want to achieve. So they still want to achieve something. So they're still achievers, but in a different context.
Got it. You mentioned a few times the energy part, Rita, and my business has struggled with this. And I know a lot of customer service jobs or administrative position where you're responding to customers on I'll take an example of my company. We get calls on even a service call or sales call all day. Phone rings. When people calling you, they have a problem to solve. They're already dealing with some challenges. So definitely that you're going to feel the energy that it's not an uplifting energy that they need help right away. And when you're helping people all the time, any customer service job, whether it's banking or any other customer service job, you're helping people definitely bring your energy down. And as a business leaders, you need to help these people to keep the energy up all the time. You need to be in high energy so you can help people other side, because you're serving people, you're helping people all the time, right? So what business leaders that you see that doing that, not only keeping their energy up, but also helping the teams as well? Listen, we need to keep energy on a certain level. And I think we were talking about one of the items that you don't want to bring somebody in a team who can bring the energy down. You want to uplift. That was one of the items I take away from the previous point you mentioned. But what else business leaders can do? Not only keep their energy up, but also helping the teams to how to keep the energy up as well.
This is where some workshops could help, because it's always in the how you conceive, how you understand. If you understand that your job as a customer service is not to get down, like I work with clients and my clients have problems and my clients have big problems. Imagine if each of these problems will take me down.
Yeah.
So there is a science to it, and it can be taught to the customer service people, because when the customer calls and is unhappy, the customer service can be empathetic to the problem, because that's what the good customer service has, but not take it on. Like at the end of the call, if the client problem can be solved, then the customer service will have a boost in energy. Like I have, like my clients, I have some clients, they cry on the calls with me, but I'm happy. It's like, yes, like we did something, we reached a point where it was important to reach. So the crying doesn't make me feel like, oh, the poor client or poor person. It makes me feel, okay, we're solving a problem. So your customer service people, if we train them that we're helping the client solve a problem, yes, will we have 20% of the clients that don't want to solve the problem? They just want to bitch about it and they just want to be mean. Yes, it's life, it's the world. 20% of the people will be that, right? Then we'll have the 20% of the people that is easy to solve. You just do something and they're happy and they go on the way. And then we have the 60% where it takes a little bit longer to help them. But if by the end of the call, either I helped them or I did my best, I should not be down. If I helped them and I did my best, I should be, okay, I did my best. I tried to help a customer, clear the energy, next.
Yeah.
But it's a bit of understanding, because people think that when you're kind and loving, if somebody's down, you have to go down with them.
That's expected. You try to, it's a human nature. We try to mirror the behavior, right? If you're in a trouble, I want to mirror my behavior, bring it to the level. So I want to be empathetic to that, right? But that doesn't mean, and not knowing or not understanding, we not only mirroring the behavior, we also bring our energy down as well to their level to deal with it.
Yes, but the thing is this. So I have few points to share with you on that. So the thing is this: if I know that in truth all is well.
Okay.
So if I'm a customer service, so let's not talk like me. I'm a customer service. So I know I'm competent at my job. I know this company that I work is fair to their customers. So I know at the end of this call, something good is going to happen. I don't have control over the customer or over the other person. I'm not them. I cannot change their life. All I can do is to do a fantastic job serving them in this phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So if I know all is well and I can solve the problem, then I can breathe through it and I can empathize but not go down. So I can say, oh, this must be hard. But without being, like there are some scripts, like, oh, this must be hard. No, but like really like this, if you lost your phone or whatever, something didn't work, or you lost your data in the computer, in like your company, it must be hard. Let's see how we can solve it. Let's see what we can do. But if I'm down, because when I'm up, I can solve problem better. When I'm down, I'm dumber, if you may, like for all of us. So then I understand that I'm competent at my job. I work for a good company. Customer service is good. I love helping people. I will do my best. I'm not there to make people happy. I tell this to my clients, like, I'm not here to make you happy. I'm here to help you get the results. So the same for your customer service. I cannot make you happy. Like maybe you had an argument with the cat and now you're on the phone with me, but I can help you solve the problem that you have with our company. So you have to distinguish what is kind and what is taking responsibility for the other person, which we can't.
Yeah. Very interesting. There's so much to learn from you, Irina. When I build a business, definitely I learned from trial and error approach. I wish I had somebody like you to build a business, and such a shortcut when business leaders, we all try to, time is, what we up against, right? So we want to speed up the growth of the business or scaling the company. But when I was struggling with that, I had to read a lot of books to learn a lot of concept, a lot of this customer service ideas that you brought to that discussion. I had to dig through the, every single one of them one by one. And I'm still not perfect, got to where I want to, but I'm in a process of learning. But it took me so many books to read to get to that. But what you simplify all those concepts already in a, it's like avoiding, reading 30, 40 books. I'm much better this way. So business leader who are watching, who are listening to us, I will definitely encourage them to pick up phone, reach out to you, have a conversation. I learned so much. I'm sure they're going to learn so much from you as well.
Yes, thank you for your questions and for giving examples that we could talk about.
Yeah, no, we run a business. We are so focused on a business. We're talking about there's so many blind spots. That's why we need people like you to discover those blind spots and help us to get there much faster. So we need those experts, coaches, people like you around us to get there much faster. Otherwise, trial and error wastes so much time for every business leader. So that's what we want to avoid.
And what's interesting, because leaders have so many responsibilities. Like when I come and I ask questions, and also I use my engineering to connect the dots and to make like what makes sense, like strategic, then it's the aha moment is what propels them further, right? Because like he says, like it's easier when you're in the next seat to know where you're driving or something like that. It's that thing when you're too busy. How do you say you're too much in a rush to put gas in the car? So I feel like being in communication with someone like me, it can be anyone that can advise. It gives like sit down, put the gas in the car, figure out, and then you can go fast and drive fast.
Very interesting. I want to talk about your nonprofit. If you can walk our audience through what is nonprofit is about and how did you start a nonprofit?
So it's a social enterprise. It is not a registered not-for-profit. It's a social enterprise. It's under my business. So as a child, I was abused. And I had to figure out everything by myself, like how to go to university, how to come to Canada, everything I've done by myself. I didn't have support. And when I started my coaching practice, as I said, working with high achievers, I saw like people in their 50s, 60s, they are still suffering from things that happen in the childhood. And I myself had to heal through that, had to release that, had to do a lot of work on myself. I was trained with Tony Robbins in strategic intervention, and that's going through the course I applied to myself. So that's when I did a lot of coaching on myself and through the program. So I saw people that after their half of the life, still dealing with problems from before, either wrong career, wrong marriage, something like that. So I thought, what if we go to youth before they start the life? So they had adverse childhood experiences, and before they go into life and they make career choices, marriage choices, relationship choices, because if you had difficulties, you make bad relationships.
Bad choices. Yeah.
It's just because your entire system is not thinking right.
Okay.
So if we go to the youth and we give them a chance to undo that and gain confidence in themselves and also gain leadership skills and entrepreneurship skills, then we can make a big impact to the future. And the entrepreneurship skills, I feel they are so important because, what I observe, people who have self-sufficiency, they don't stay in abusive situations. But people who don't know how to make their money and they depend on others, they stay in bad situations. So that's where my drive was for youth. And now the second element is that I help them with horses. And you will say, like, why horses, and like, why didn't I just teach them? But one of the things when we work with youth, the biggest thing is you don't want to tell them you're going somewhere to be fixed. You don't want to go. There's like people who go to counseling, to go to therapists, very good. Like there are a lot of people who take the right actions and go to this. But there are some youth, and especially the ones with leadership skills, which want to be rebels, and they don't want this, they don't want that, And then when you come and for the ones that love horses, they come to the horse. They are not coming to therapy, not even to coaching. They're coming to have an experience with a horse and myself in so far. And they are learning through that experience. And that's where I found the magic place was. So we're helping youth. We bring them to the horses. We give them a chance to experience. And then if they show interest in leadership and entrepreneurship, we provide like a 4-month program. Then we can bring them together also with the business leaders. So we can have like community dinners and stuff like that where they mingle with business leaders, so that the horse allows for nervous regulation. The leadership is learned through interacting with the animals and doing chores here, like doing things around. And then with the business leaders, the entrepreneurship, they say, oh, you can be successful. Oh, you can have ambition in life. And through my story, we inspire them to be hopeful for their future and to dream of the big future.
Very interesting. Yeah, definitely you providing the whole system around them, whole environment for them to be nurtured and make some, right decisions and deal with some of the mistakes in the past as well.
Yes, and it's free of charge. And also because of my background and expertise in human behavior and family dynamics, and I can easily see what's needed, and I don't even talk as much. Like I talk now a lot because we're in an interview, but when they come here, I don't talk a lot. Like I just observe and I point things to them. I ask them questions and they have an experience and they learn for themselves. Like they go, oh, okay, interesting.
Wow. Boy, hey, there's so much to learn from you. I learned so much from our discussion as well. Where can people? Is there a page where people can donate for your nonprofit as well, Rina? If is it set for that purpose as well? For somebody who wants to add
Yes,
contribute?
yes. So there is like my website is entrepreneurenlightenment.com, and there
Okay.
is a page called like equine or not for profit, because it's not for profit. That division is not for profit, but it's not a registered not for profit. So sponsorships are welcome, because that's we can do like a business a business benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And on that page there is something about the horses, and there is at the bottom like how to get involved and how to donate. It's a link.
I'm gonna put a link to page below this video as well. People can just click a button and what is the best way to connect with you? Or, is it a website or LinkedIn? Or how do you?
So I love LinkedIn for business. The website is good, but I love LinkedIn for business because immediately we can see like the history, the background, who's the person. I feel LinkedIn is a great place to connect, and it's my name, Irina Mihaela.
Okay, I'm going to put links to both of them below this video. People can reach out to you and connect with you. There's so much to learn. I learned so much from our discussion. I'm encouraging business leaders who are watching or listening to us on a podcast, connect with you. And by the way, before we go, copy of your book. Where can people find a copy of your book?
It's on Amazon. The book is called Entrepreneur Enlightenment and is about purpose-driven businesses. So it was written for businesses that are starting, but I worked with advanced businesses that some concepts you can take the business the way you have it and see how can I align it more with the purpose.
Got it. Perfect. Yeah, no, definitely. I will encourage all business leaders to reach out to you, connect with you. Hope somebody find so much value from our discussion and change their business and help them grow their business, scale their companies. So people should just connect with you and learn so much from you and go from there.
I'm here to help, and our tagline is elevate purpose, peace, and profit.
Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you so much for your time, Irina.
You're welcome.